Hi, welcome to Simply Debbie Sue's Southern Whispers, where every story is stitched with laughter, faith, and even a little bit of Southern sass. I believe even the quietest whisper can stir the soul. So let's get into the introduction of this week's story. In the hills where faith echoes louder than words and love is stitched into casseroles and tire checks, some stories unfold not with thunder, but with a whisper. This is the tale of Lila Mae, a teenage girl with hand-me-down heels and a heart full of hope, and her daddy, Big Earl, a man built of silence and stubbornness. It's about the kind of Sunday that changes everything, not with a sermon, but with a seat on a pew and a ribbon in a daughter's hair. This story is called Sunday Shoes and Softened Hearts. In a little mountain town where the roads curled like ribbon and the church bell echoed off the hills, lived a teenage girl named Lila Mae, her mama, and her daddy, Big Earl folks called him. He was a man of few words and firm ways, with hands like leather and a heart that seemed too much to open easily. Every Sunday, Mama would dress in her best soft lavender dress, Bible tucked under her arm, and head to church alone. Lila Mae started going with her when she turned 13, wearing hand-me-down heels and a heart full of questions. She didn't understand all the sermons, but she loved the way the hymns made her chest feel tight and the way the preacher's voice sounded like it was trying to hug the whole room. Daddy never came. Said church was for folks who needed fixing, and he wasn't broken, just busy. But Lila Mae saw the cracks, in the way he stared too long at the fire, in the way he flinched when Mama prayed out loud, in the way he never said, "I love you," but always made sure the tires were full and her lunch box packed. One Sunday morning, Lila Mae stood in the doorway, dressed in a pale blue skirt and a ribbon in her hair. Daddy was sipping coffee, boots muddy from the barn. "Daddy," she said softly, "I wish you'd come with us today." He looked up, startled. "Church ain't for me, baby girl." She stepped closer. "It's for all of us, even the strong ones, especially the strong ones." He didn't answer, just stared at her like she'd spoken in a language he'd forgotten. Mama came in, Bible in hand, and gave him that look, the one that said she'd been praying for this moment for years. Lila Mae reached out and touched his arm. "I don't need you to sing or shout. Just sit beside me, that's all." Something shifted in his eyes. Maybe it was the ribbon in her hair. Maybe it was the softness in her voice. Maybe it was the years of quiet prayer stitched in Sunday's casseroles and bedtime blessings. He set his coffee down. "All right," he said, clearing his throat, "but I ain't wearing a tie." Lila Mae smiled. "You don't have to. Just bring your heart." That morning, Big Earl sat in the back pew, arms crossed, boots dusty. He didn't sing. He didn't cry. But when the preacher said, "God meets us where we are," Earl nodded, just once, like a man who'd finally heard something worth hearing. And every Sunday after, he came, sometimes quiet, sometimes curious. And one day, months later, he reached for Mama's hand during the closing hymn. Lila Mae saw it, and she smiled, knowing that sometimes the strongest hearts just need a gentle nudge, and a teenage girl with a ribbon in her hair. So the closing lesson for this story is, sometimes the hardest hearts aren't cold. They're just waiting for the right warmth to melt them. And sometimes the strongest men don't need fixing. They just need reminding that grace isn't weakness and love doesn't always come dressed in a tie. Lila Mae didn't preach. She simply invited. And in doing so, she taught us that faith can be quiet, gentle, and still move mountains, especially the ones sitting at the kitchen table. I hope you enjoyed that story this week. Come back next week for another story. Thanks for listening.